Tenacious, tenacious, tenacious time podcast. It's tenacious, tenacious, tenacious time podcast. Oh, grab your friends if you have any and come and have a great time with your host, Ricky Tenacious.
Hello, hi, and how are you? Welcome to another edition of the Tenacious Time podcast. Thank you all for joining and listening in. I'm your host, the current reigning and the youngest ever Big Valley Wrestling fighting champion, the man with the vape who will make you escape. Here on this show, we put the art in Pop-Tart. It's time to get tenacious. So as advertised earlier this week, and in case some of you didn't know, I was supposed to be joined by fellow professional wrestler, gay professional wrestler, one of the only open ones on the West Coast. Tommy Purr was supposed to be on the show today. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, he was not able to make it. However, that podcast will happen next week, so don't worry, that will happen. But as for this episode, we do have a guest, and it's someone that I have wanted on my podcast ever since I first started doing this hellacious job that I have committed myself to week after week. Why do I put myself through this? Oh, why? I don't know. Maybe I do it for the 50-something viewers I get per episode. Is this worth it? No, it's not, but I'm going to keep doing it. Anyway, the guest today, he is a teacher in the Clark County School District. If you're a friend of mine in high school, you will know who this is. If you attend East Career and Technical Academy, you know who this is. If you're a cop, you know who this is because you have had to pull him over at least once or twice because he gets in so much trouble. He was my video production teacher all throughout high school. He's a very talented musician. He was the post-production negative cutter for Warner Bros. A big name there. He has worked on shows like Quantum Leap, the original Wonder Woman, Dukes of Hazzard, and tons of other projects. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest for today's podcast, Mr. Stephen New.
Hello. So I was second choice to a gay wrestler. Okay, cool. I can go with that. By the way, I got to tell you, this is an amazing studio.
There it is, everybody. There it is. Amazing studio.
Yeah, I mean, the marble floors and the chandeliers, my gosh. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know how you afford it on your budget.
Yeah, you can't forget about the waterfall that's in the lobby when you walk in.
Exactly. Yeah. It was very cool.
And the hot receptionist too, Karen. Yeah, the hot receptionist. You can't have a good studio without a hot receptionist.
Yeah, I'm married, so I'm not going to make too many comments on that one. So yes, cool.
Yeah. So as I said, Steven, I'm going to call you. It's so weird calling you Steven. Or I think I might just refer to you as Mr. New. I feel like Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad when he works with Walter. He's like, it's always Mr. White. It's never Walter. It's never Walt. It's always Mr. White. So for you, it's going to be Mr. New because I do not feel right calling you Steven at all.
Either way, we're good. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I consider you a friend now because I've already graduated, and I don't know how you feel about us. Let me ask you this first question here: did you ever think that you would be sitting across from me with us doing a podcast?
Furthest from my mind. I have to admit, not even close. No.
Okay. Has any student ever involved you in anything he's done after school, even recommendation wise or reference wise or something like this, where they're like, oh, I'm gonna bring in my old video production teacher and maybe he'll help me out here.
Well, I actually was in a brass quintet with one of my former band teachers from California.
Okay.
Yeah, short-lived, but it was fun.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get right into the nitty-gritty here. As I said, you were a post-production negative cutter for Warner Bros. Go ahead and tell us what exactly that job entails.
Yeah, basically the negative cutters are the people that are not allowed to make mistakes because we're handling the original camera negative that when they shoot a production, and we basically organize that, get it in a very pristine, clean atmosphere. When the editors finish cutting the actual film, they give us their work print, and we create a master off of that. So that's kind of what negative cutting does. A little tedious, not too bad, but you have to be very exact.
Now, for people that don't speak nerd, can you explain that again in a more modern definition?
Yeah, more modern definition is we create a master that all the prints will come off of that the general public can watch.
Okay, all right. Now for those that don't have the best attention span, we're just gonna keep shortening this definition as much as we can here. We will be here all podcast for the 1 hour we're here until you give us an acceptable answer.
I take a pair of scissors and I cut through a piece of negative and then they print it.
Now for our Spanish viewers, please.
No tengo tiempo para ti.
Okay.
That's all I know in Spanish.
Good enough. So, so let me ask you: was being involved in the film industry, or whether it be the negative cutting or editing, that position you're in for Warner Bros. Was being in the film industry your first choice of career, or did you ever have like a different plan?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I originally wanted to be a band director. Seriously, I went to school for music education at the University of Southern California, USC. While I was there, I mean, every Saturday I averaged at least 150 yards on playing in front of the fans, first chair tuba. But no, so now I basically wanted to be a band director, and then I was thinking of possibly wanting to go into composition for the movies, but it was a family-owned business. My dad started the negative cutting business. Very lucrative. It was a pretty easy transition to move and take over the family business, and I ran that for about 22 years.
Wow, that is very interesting. That's I know how you feel, because my dad owns Big Valley, and obviously I'm involved with that and wrestling and stuff. So I'm pretty sure one day they'll have to handle that responsibility. Go through the family business.
Well, as a negative cutter, I never had to take down a 300-pound wrestler, so that was a good thing about that one.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure anything is better when you don't have to go through a really heavy and strong wrestler, especially not just a guy, but just a wrestler. And if you could you imagine if it was a woman you had to go through? That would be something else.
Something just chimed.
Oh.
Did that shut off?
Oh, no.
I heard a chime.
Oh, no, it's fine. You're good.
Oh.
All right, we're just
yeah.
going to get right back into things.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you get into filmmaking then? Or how did you get into the film industry?
Well, like I said, it was a situation where, oh my gosh, what a story. I basically got married right out of college.
Okay.
In fact, I skipped my last final for my wedding day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got my I knew Mrs. New for about 9 months, and we met in September. We're engaged in December, married in June, and decided that you know what, maybe going another couple of years in college may not be the best idea. So I was talking to my dad, and he was saying, hey, come work for me. Well, before I was able to work for him, I had to work in a non-union lab. And this is kind of a weird story. I got a job at this place called Hollywood Valley Film Lab in California. And what basically happened, they had me working doing sound transfers for them on industrial films. Well, when I told them I wanted to leave because I was finally had my foot in the door to get in the union, they were going to offer me a much better job working in their back room. But after talking it over between the top two guys, they said, well, you know what, we'll let you go. Go ahead and join the union. And if you have any problems, come back. We'll give you a job at our back room. Well, a week later, I was watching TV, and the police were raiding the place for making porn films in their back room. I had no clue that they were doing that.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, I was such a straight-laced guy, and I could imagine myself being hauled out of there in handcuffs like the rest of them. So somebody was looking out after me, and I started off in the union, worked my way up, and about a year I was working for the family biz. Yeah.
Awesome, man. That's really cool. That's a really cool story, man. I'm just trying to imagine you behind camera on a porn set.
I think they wanted me editing the film.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have been on the set. They would have had me editing. But truthfully, if as soon as I saw it, it would have been, oh no, that was not going to work. But I mean, it was just pretty funny, the prospects of that was going on in the same building I was doing sound transfer.
I feel like as an editor, you would have on your free time, because I've seen you edit stuff. Like you can edit things like that, like in an instant. Like you would just take it for fun and just put scenes where they're not supposed to be in other scenes and just make it something completely different where it's not even porn anymore.
Oh,
it's
just wait for the soundtrack. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. So obviously, once you started out, what were like some of the bigger projects you worked on?
Well, like I said, we did a lot of Warner Brothers TV. There was one point where I had invented a machine that allowed me to cut negative against a videotape, which was at the time pretty revolutionary. And I wound up picking up Universal's Quantum Leap for a while because of that, till they got their people up to speed. But probably the biggest project I worked on was North and South, the miniseries for Warner Brothers, and the North and South Part 2, which was another miniseries. There was over 1 million feet of film shot for each one of those. So
wow.
we had to deal. We had like rooms full of original film for that one. It was pretty crazy.
No, that definitely is crazy. That's I'm surely you probably made pretty good money doing all of this.
A heck of a lot more than I am as a teacher, I have to admit.
Wow.
Yeah, the paychecks back then were pretty awesome. It allowed for a lot of travel, a lot of playing around, buying some really cool instruments that I still have today. Yeah, okay. So,
speaking of teaching, you obviously you did the negative cutting for a while and did the music thing. So what led you into becoming a teacher? Was that something you always wanted to do, or something you felt was just a benefit to have, like a teaching degree with all the knowledge you have?
Actually, I always wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
And I found myself a lot of times, even in the industry, teaching people about, what I did. Whenever somebody new came in, I was the one to teach them how to do it. I also was into technology the whole time. I got on one of the first computers that came out and was writing software for the business. I just kind of geeked that way. But it all kind of came full circle. But I always wanted to be a band teacher. And I taught middle school band and orchestra for 4 years. And I don't know why we came to Las Vegas, but we wound up in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And bad debt. No. No, we wound up in Las Vegas and taught at high school level at El Dorado, and realized that it wasn't what I had envisioned. And the opportunity came out to switch back over and start teaching film. And I thought, you know what? I've kind of gone full circle, but I enjoy teaching. Film was an amazing hobby, and music was a passion. And I found it easier to teach your hobby than to teach your passion.
Yeah, I would have to definitely agree with that. Like, I don't know, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually trying to become a teacher myself. Like,
really?
I'm taking education classes at CSN right now, secondary education, because I mainly just want to teach high school.
Cool.
And I guess you could say my passion would probably have to be professional wrestling. I don't know if you know about that, but that's something I do.
I learned that first when I saw some of the posts you had. I thought it might have been just a joke, and then when I realized, oh my gosh, he really is a wrestler, it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty amazing. That's awesome.
So I'm guessing, do you follow up with a lot of your students after they graduate, or?
A handful of them I do, yeah. There's a few that I keep in contact with on a regular basis, and though I haven't been in this palatial palace of a studio with any of them. It's the first time that's happened.
Yeah, and also I would also like to point out the strict no pets allowed policy in the studio. So if anyone ever feels like there's pets on the set, you're totally wrong. That's just a mental problem you need to see your local doctor about.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely clean, and I noticed they were kind of all the dogs were lined up outside. Pretty sad, but I understand. You don't want them in the studio.
Yeah. So, as we were talking about before, like the biggest projects you've worked on, I'm sure those biggest projects when you go to see a movie, you see all the long monologue, like Shakespearean monologue, like credits you'll see going down the screen. You don't really stay for those, but I'm pretty sure Mr. New was involved on a lot of the credits you never even noticed. So, and where credit is due. So anyone who was part of any project, I'm sure that project couldn't have been done without them. And so Warner Bros. did a lot of big projects, especially in Hollywood, and so we all know about these premieres. So what would you say was did you ever experience any big benefits from working on these films, like any big premieres, being able to rub elbows with big celebrities?
Yeah, actually, I did. There's quite a few situations where that happened. I think there's only a couple of premieres that I attended. Worked on Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and that was one of the premieres. I think one of the most enjoyable, fun premieres was Steven Spielberg's American Tail, the cartoon, and they took over the entire Universal Amphitheater, and they had full set of spread of food, and didn't recognize any of the people there because the voice actors, but still the layout was just phenomenal. The most fun one, to be honest, was Quantum Leap.
Okay.
Because Don Belisario, the executive producer, would rent out an entire bowling alley for cast and crew, and we were part of the crew that was invited. And it was pretty much open bowling the whole night, open food buffet, whatever. And I was actually bowling with Dean Stockwell, the guy who played Al, and the guy's hysterical. He was a blast. Got to meet a lot of the main actors and all those. So pretty much that, and even Dukes of Hazzard, they had some really great rap parties after the show as well. Sorrel Book, the one who played Boss Hogg, actually grabbed me when he found out I was a negative cutter, took me around to every single co-star on the show, and told him, I want you to meet somebody who's perfect. And it was a little embarrassing because he said, you're the negative cutter, right? Yeah, you're not allowed to make mistakes. That means you're perfect.
Oh.
And he would take me around to tell her, when you've never met anyone who's been perfect before. This guy's perfect. And it was quite an honor because he was an amazing man, but it kind of funny in the same respect that he would drag me around to meet everybody. So.
Wow.
So pretty fun.
Yeah, that's quite the honor there, man. That's pretty cool. So yes, as I've mentioned before, I'm probably bringing up again why I've been calling my guest Stephen New Mr. New is because he was my video production teacher. So tell me, what were some of what do you think it takes for a student? I would assume I would be one of these students to be a standout student in your video production class.
What would it take? Going above and beyond. Truthfully, there's get involved in script writing, get involved in just watching a lot of movies, get involved in making a lot of movies. You're going to make mistakes. Make them while you're in high school, because once you get out of that, you want to make sure that you're starting to learn the craft. So that would be the thing. I mean, you and Colton would come up with these crazy epic productions. You know.
Yep. And you can't forget about Sylvia too.
Sylvia!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Minnie Mouse, awesome. Does she listen to this?
I would hope so. I hope she's listening right now. If she is, then hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi.
Yeah. So
she's probably so mad right now.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to let her know she's got to listen to this episode. Okay. Yeah. Basically, go above and beyond. Work on your projects. Really try to master the craft of editing. Figure that whole thing out. And the best way to do it really is to watch movies. Mm-hmm. What better homework? Go watch movies.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing most of the time anyway.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
During class too.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna inform some of you guys about the subject matter of the videos that I made. Get out of here.
Your bouncer just got in the way. Okay.
Yeah, my bouncer. I have a big security guard. Anyway, so yes, I took Mr. New's video production class, and my partner was Sylvia, who we just mentioned, and then of course I had my good friend who was always mentioned on the show, Colton, who, as I've said many times before, is in Colorado right now on his mission because he's doing Mormon stuff. And I feel like just so you know, I talk about Colton on here kind of the same way. I don't think you've ever watched the show Ed, and Eddie. It's an old cartoon on Cartoon Network. And one of the main characters, Ed, always talks about his big brother. And then there was that one episode I remember where they had his big brother in the episode, and you can only see him from the waist up. So I feel like if I ever have Colton on here, that's going to be the one day that we're going to have like some really bad audio issues. Wherever he talks, it's just going to be like, so, yeah, but okay, thanks for listening to the show, everybody. Okay, it's gonna be like that. As I was saying, and yes, but yet I digress. As I was saying, just as well as I do, of the videos that me and Sylvia produced weren't the most school appropriate. Well, I would call them more creative, if anything, because I was always amazed by how we were able to put two ideas together. For instance, the infamous, I'm bringing this up, the infamous internet porn file, or no, it was yearbook porn file that me and Sylvia created, where we had to, because it was required, we had to make a yearbook commercial. And so I think I got that idea because I was watching TV late night, and when you're mainly going to see on late night TV is these phone sex infomercials. And so I was like, what if we did a commercial in the style of a phone sex commercial? Like, I think we could do it, and it would definitely be it would be just about at the line, but we would never fully cross the line.
No, that one crossed the line.
Okay.
Yeah. I cracked up. It went into the archives and never aired.
Just like most of the videos I've made, never have seen the light of day.
Nor did that one. That one might have gone on the recycle bin.
Yeah, that one was on the infamous one episode of Recycle Bin, which was a special episode which viewers had the choice to watch. It was in a file sent to them where it was just all of the videos we didn't have time to put in and were a little bit too off topic and weird, but still at least had to have some opportunity for people to watch them.
I think it was more weird instead of not had time.
Yeah. Speaking of time, which I have referenced before for a lot of the videos I've made in high school, one of the main reasons you bring up why a lot of my videos never made it on the air was because they were too long. So I know there was regulations of times for certain lengths that videos had to be to fit on the announcements. So I guess my question would be to you: have you ever felt like that's been a bad thing, or do you feel like that's a rule that you've made, or more the school has enforced, or is it more about teaching kids to stick to times to get that rule of thumb in their mind? Because I would honestly assume that any like film production company or like news company or anything that has to do with TV and making commercials would be like, okay, this commercial has to be 30 seconds, no more, no less, or you're going to either be wasting money or you're going to cost us money.
Yeah, truthfully, everything you mentioned was kind of all of the above. Part of it was, yes, we are in a very limited time frame in showing the show in the morning. If there's a lot of announcements, it has to be short films. But I've also noticed, in fact, I've been bringing it up to my class just this last week, the only difference between an amazing Super Bowl commercial and an amazing feature film is strictly just the length of the piece. They're both written about the same way. They both use the same formula. In script writing, they all have a beginning, middle, end. They all develop the character. I mean, they follow all the rules of filmmaking. So if a student can learn how to really tell a story in a shorter amount of time, they're going to be able to capture the audience and keep them for that time. So, but we are limited as far as how long it can go. Now, on the plus side, I am branching out this year, after you've left, of course, to start later in the year talking about more lengthy short films as opposed to just broadcast news kind of pieces. Okay. So students will be able to start writing stories. They'll be able to start doing more actual movie making, and that's kind of the direction I'd like to see some of it go in. So we're on track that next school year we'll actually probably have an advanced studies video class where students can focus just doing that. Okay. So, but that's kind of the direction I want to take it in.
Yeah, that sounds like a really awesome direction you should take it in, which leads me actually to my next question. I remember one time I was hanging out for school in your room, of course, like many days after school, because I always had videos to edit and different projects I would do and stuff that me and Colton would manipulate you into believing that we were using your equipment for video production only related stuff just for that class.
That was not a dog, by the way.
Yeah, not a dog. Definitely not. That was my Donald Duck impression.
Yes, clearing your throat.
Yeah, clearing my throat. Okay. So, as you were saying about advancing more advanced classes for video production, it brings me to my next question. I remember I was hanging out after school one day in your classroom, like most of most days after school for me, because I was always working on something video related whenever I could, or me and Colton were manipulating you into believing that we were actually using your equipment for video production class only related stuff. And I recall you saying how you thought it would be a good idea because the school you teach at, East Korea and Technical Academy, is a technical career school where we have vocational career programs like marketing, education, automotive, and so on and so forth. That one of the programs could be video production, which I personally think would be a really great idea because of how big video media is today. So go and shed some light on why you think that should be, and maybe other benefits that maybe some school administrators wouldn't see.
Well, we've talked about that. There's another teacher there as well, Miss Flaming, who does film studies, and we have actually talked about it from time to time. We both opened the school. Wow, it's hard to believe. We finished our 8th year, starting our 9th year, and we've talked about it many times about turning both of our programs into a film studies video production program. It only has gone to talk. Yeah, there is benefits behind it. I definitely admit that. A lot of the main benefits is the fact that you do have media in everything you do in society today. There's so many jobs out there. There's probably more jobs in production today than there was when I was in the industry. And a lot of it has to do with podcasts and streaming video shows that people are doing. And to be honest, I would like to see more of the right way to do it. Because have you seen some of these YouTube videos lately? I mean, come on, guys, learn how to edit, learn how to hold the camera, the right way. It's weird what people are doing online, and I'd like to see some more substance and some more technique involved. And I think the way it's going to happen is get them involved young and get them involved early, and learning how to do it right. But yeah, administration, if I know they're not listening to this, I hope they're not listening to this. But if they are, honestly, yeah, we do have a video production program going on at the Northwest Career Technical Academy. And I think that's that is the only other school that has it as a program.
Okay.
There's a lot of other schools out there that have it as an elective like we are. But there is something to be said when it's actually part of their career choice. So, yeah, I'd say let's go for it.
Awesome. So this is going to be like one of my $1 million questions for you. This is usually somewhat of a question that I ask pretty much any guest I have on here concerning their career. What would you say is the best day that you've had at work and the worst day you've had at work? This can be for when you were working for Warner Bros. Or at school, or you can do both if you want.
Okay. Best day was when you graduated. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I have to admit, probably the best day was opening East Tech. The anticipation, a brand new school, new equipment, and I mean, just everyone was excited to be there. And I mean, we still are. A lot of us are still excited to be there, but it was just such an amazing time that whole first few years we were open as we built. To be perfectly honest, I think some of the worst times, well, that's for school anyways, the worst times, can I say it? I don't know if I can say that. Yeah, every year it seems like the school district is finding more and more ways to take the teachers away from the students and doing more paperwork, more. And I understand the fact that for the average teacher that doesn't quite know what they're doing, having to figure out all this assessment is probably a good thing. But for the experienced teachers, the ones that, our work shows, our students show what we do, and they do amazing things. It just seems like I'm spending more time doing paperwork for that level than actually having an opportunity to be with students to help them to teach. And that's really kind of tough. But to be honest, every day has just is exciting. I love going to school every day. I love working with the students and teaching them and seeing when the light bulb goes off and they create one of their first videos and realize, hey, this looks pretty good. Exciting stuff. Definitely exciting. That has to be probably the best experience, and it's hard to pick a single one out. To be honest, I know when I first started teaching middle school band and orchestra, I think one of probably the most exciting days I ever had teaching was when I got a phone call from the LA Philharmonic, and they wanted to do a concert at my school as an outreach program.
Oh.
And that boosted these kids were just hanging around these professional musicians, and it was just an amazing experience to be and have those guys on my middle school stage. And then my little first and second year string players, the warm-up act for the LA Philharmonic. I mean, it was pretty amazing. I mean, we were all on a high for that one for a long time. So yeah, those are some of the high points. It's awesome, absolutely awesome.
Okay, awesome. Did you want to address any of your work you did at Warner Bros, or did you just want to leave that out?
No. Okay. Well, to be honest, the difference was that was working with Warner Brothers and working on that. I mean, every day was long, tedious days. It was the money was great, but the work was stressful. And to say there was a great day, maybe the day that one of my coworkers and I snuck on the back lot of Universal Studios and wandered around and saw the Back to the Future set before the show released.
Awesome.
We saw the DeLorean up close and tried to figure out what the heck is this movie about. Yeah, I mean, those situations were a blast, but the actual work itself was, truthfully, it's kind of a blur because it was just kind of a tedious job.
Yeah. Okay, so next one's going to be a little on the spot. You don't have to go with it if you can't come up with anything.
All right.
Do you have as living and breathing proof of a student of your class? Do you have any questions for me concerning how you've taught, or any questions at all, like concerning my mental state of when making videos, like anything at all, or anything you want to know about me?
I don't know if I even want to ask, what were you thinking when you made that yearbook commercial? What were you thinking? No. I just, truthfully, a lot of times the question I have for some of my students, and every now and then I get the answer, and it's exciting when I get the answer, but so many times teachers don't know, are they really listening and paying attention and learning something? And there are a few times when I've seen the results and realized, yes, I got through to some of them. But I just wondered if, I don't know, if I had any question is, do you feel that some of the life lessons I tried to teach you guys came through and you understood that it was more than just film that we talked about?
Oh man, that's a deep-ended question right there. You can maybe like throw out an example that I could, because my mind's a little
just fuzzy,
little smoky.
Yeah. Too many takedowns.
But I'm definitely that too many chair shots to the head. Even though I've never taken that, and that's never gonna happen. Yeah, if you can just throw me something to jog my memory, I can definitely give you an answer.
No, there's a lot of times that when it's just dealing with the teamwork, dealing with being part of a production, taking on different positions, different roles. One day you could be the leader of the pack. The next day you're carrying a camera around. Just some of the things that we dealt with and we covered in the class. I was hoping that it would kind of help you understand more about working as a team, that sort of thing.
I definitely have you now. So at East Tech, we had these things called tenets, which were kind of these a set of ideals that the bigwigs of the school wanted us to practice regularly in any project we did, such as problem solving, which was always a big one, collaboration for group projects, presentation, which we always did, and just about anything we did. Technology was definitely one, especially because we're at a technical school, and written communication, I believe, was one of them. There was 8 of them altogether. I can't list all of them.
6.
6? Which one am I leaving?
Which one did you miss? You missed content knowledge.
Content knowledge. There it is. Okay. So yeah, no matter what we did, we always, even if we didn't want to, if we put the right work into our projects, we ended up using all of those tenets and incorporating them into that. So I definitely think the video production class really did a good job of integrating those tenets without us even knowing it. And like whether it be for which is why it's really good to have people work in groups, because I honestly feel like like me and Sylvia were friends way before that, but I feel like the video production class is really where we started to establish just how good the chemistry was between me and her, as far as coming up with ideas, writing jokes out, the ease of coming up with ideas and filming them, and so forth and so on. And then, of course, the just working on set for the morning announcements, because everybody was assigned a job for that, whether if you were an anchor, which involved reading and reciting lines, or if you were a cameraman, you had to handle the camera, or if you were in the I'm going to call it the lab. I forgot what it's called. The booth where we have all of the sound and the TriCasting, which is like the hardest job. I don't think I ever got around to doing that job, but just watching it was like, wow, you kind of have to really get into the groove of doing this. So I definitely believe that all those jobs and giving kids the opportunity to do that, whether they wanted to do it or not, it's more so about the opportunity, in my opinion, of being able to be around technology like that. Because not a lot of school, like East Tech is not a magnet school just because someone decided to call it a magnet school. You go to that school, you get all of this equipment, especially in video production. You get all the cameras you could want. You get all the tripods, the editing system, the knowledge and teaching from guys like Mr. New, who legitimately give you the opportunity to apply what you want to do. Honestly, I feel like you're a pretty loose teacher, and what I mean by that is that you're cool. You allow people to try their ideas. And if not once have I ever planned out tried to just say, okay, so I'm gonna go shoot some naked people. But I feel like if I did come to you with that, you will say, well, you know what you can do, Ricky? Do this alternative, and you'll still get the same satisfactory. So I honestly, a lot of the ideas, no matter how stupid and goofy and dopey they were, because of guys and teachers like Mr. New still giving me the benefit of the doubt. So you know what? Make it, see what you come up with, and maybe you'll be surprised of just how educationally related this video really is. Because the main reason why I made those videos, how ridiculous they were, is because I like to make, number one, because I like to make weird stuff, and number two, because I want to be different, and number three, because I feel like it was entertaining. And if I'm going to put anything on the announcements, and hopefully, if anything, it'll make someone laugh or feel something or be inspired to make something like that of their own. So by being a teacher and giving kids opportunity to be around this equipment, you are doing what I would call keeping the circle of creativity going, keeping this because I knew for a long time that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I knew I wanted to do something with filming. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to learn how to make videos and editing and all that stuff. And I probably would not have been able to do that if it wasn't for a school like East Tech, and if it wasn't for a teacher like you giving me so much creative freedom. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that is Tenacious. So, Mr. New, thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure you coming on the show and talking about your career. If you have any closing comments, statements, or concerns, go ahead and get them in now.
No, actually, truthfully, the one thing I just want to bring up is, it is a fine line that you walk in a creative classroom of being, on one side, being the teacher, and the other side, allowing creative expression. And on top of it all, I like to look at it more as being a facilitator and guiding you through the process. So, thank you for letting me be on here, and boy, it's going to be hard to leave this palace. I mean, thank you again
and make sure on the way out you don't forget to go through the catering room. We have dozens of dishes for all types of diets, no matter if you're vegetarian, vegan, or if you only eat sweets, or even if you're one of those people that just eat air. We have a nice big bowl of air for you guys to munch on.
And I saw the oxygen bars.
The oxygen bars are very high in nutrition, very high in oxygen, of course. So with that being said, thank you for everyone who tuned in to listen to this episode once again. I truly, truly value and appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to the ridiculous opinions I have, and the dopey opinions of me and the guests that I have, and just being able to sit down and take some time out of your day to listen to a different side of someone else's story who probably has a totally different path of life. So with that, see you guys next week. I should have Tommy Purr on for next week. Sorry about that if you guys were looking forward to that, but that will happen one way or the other. Once again, thank you, Mr. New, for tuning in. for being my guest today. Thanks for everyone who's tuned into this episode. Once again, I'm Ricky Tenacious. This is the Tenacious Time Podcast. I will see you all next Monday at 3 p.m. See you later. Take it easy.
Thank you if you're still listening. I try my best not to bore the people that listen to our thoughts, 'cause it's Tenacious Tenacious Time Podcast. Oh, grab your cat and your friends and have a great time. Forget about the voices that tell you to commit suicide.